Hello and welcome to the True to Life podcast. This is episode 52, joined by Westmont golfer Liz Oloteo. Sorry, I might have just butchered that last name. How did I do?
No, that was perfect.
Okay.
Oloteo.
Okay, good. Yeah, so Liz golfs at Westmont College, and we met during the SAC retreat this past summer. She was actually my buddy on the kayak. That's where we actually met and got to get to know each other a little bit. And she's engaged the leadership at Westmont golf. And honestly, I'm looking forward to learning a little bit more about her through this interview. So really happy to have you here with us today, Liz.
Well, thank you for having me. I'm excited.
Awesome. So to get started, can you tell us about what first got you into golf?
Oh, so I've actually been golfing pretty much my entire life. My dad just started bringing me to the range when I was younger, and by the time I could walk, I had a set of clubs and I started playing. It wasn't until I was like 5 or 6 where this course by where we moved to had junior lessons. So I started going there, and I've actually had the same coach since I was 6.
Oh, wow.
Um, yeah, I kind of stuck to the same people, same group. It was just a really great experience. And oh my gosh, where was I?
Oh, it's like I was even
Golf
asked
experience.
what drew you to golf over other sports? Because I mean, you have so many choices.
Yeah, I've actually tried pretty much everything.
Yeah.
Um, at that time, I was playing tennis and t-ball and softball. Um, so it was just kind of one of the other things I tried, and I ended up just sticking to it. Still throughout, I was playing other sports until my senior year of high school. I was on the soccer team, so kind of just something I've always done.
I think it's very important to do that. I've mentioned it with a lot of people we've talked about on this podcast is like it's really important to play other sports and just being a part of different teams because honestly, I do have a question. So explain to us for the listeners that don't understand the golfing aspect as a team. It's like you're competing. Obviously, it's like you're out there, competing on your own, but it's part of like a team score. If I'm, please correct me if I'm wrong. We're
Yeah,
curious to
no,
learn.
no, that's right. I know. Sometimes it's confusing because like before college and high school, it's pretty much all individual tournaments. So
Mhm.
like it's just your score that counts. But in the team aspect, we have 5 people that go out and play, and then the best 4 scores count for the day. And then
Oh,
those 4 scores are combined, and then the lowest score is the one that wins, like team
okay.
score.
Yeah, it's okay. So a little bit different. So if you're not in the thick
Yeah.
of it, it might be
So
hard to
you're
understand.
not necessarily like working with each other out on the course because I mean we'll go the entire round without seeing another one of our
Mhm.
players. But at the end of the round, we do rely that they kept fighting through the round, like just somehow carry each other up and hope at the end it
You
goes
guys are like,
well.
kind of connected from afar. Like you're relying on each other to perform, so you guys get the best score. Um,
Yeah.
wow. Okay. So individually, golf is known to be a very mental game. So I want to dive into a little bit of maybe some of the mental challenges you faced and like how you've overcame those, and just speak into the mental aspect behind golf.
I mean, so golf is really mental. You're out on the course for, 4 to 6 hours, kind of by yourself. And it's easy to kind of just get stuck. You have a bad shot, and you're like, it
Mhm.
keeps going and going, and it's quiet out there. It's really easy to get stuck in your own head. And I mean, with any sport, just when you get stuck in a slump, it seems to never end. Um, and it's really hard because the overthinking causes so many different little changes in your swing. Golf is a very technical sport, so any minor speed change, swing path change makes a huge difference. And then, yeah, it's hard to get out of it. It's mentally draining for sure.
So when you are like, yeah, say you make some mistakes, like you have like some setbacks, what are the tips that your coaches and what have you found to be successful like for yourself to like get you out of that or like snap back into it?
It's definitely not something I've been able to master. I definitely struggle a lot mentally on the course, just coming back from mistakes. But what I have been working on with my new coach, he has been absolutely amazing support, and he's just encouraged us to have confidence in ourselves and believe in ourselves. We're here for a reason, and we have skills that got us here, and we do have it in us. So we just have to remember that, and it won't happen. You get caught on the bad shots, and you're like, "Wow, that's just how I'm hitting," but it's really not. Like, we have it in us. We can hit good shots and we can play well. So just remembering that you can come back from it.
Like having like a constant like, internal voice. You got to be talking to yourself. Like
Yeah.
positive self-talk is really big.
No,
Um,
our coach definitely has been encouraging that during practices. He'll have us call our shots like, we're hitting right there. Like, have confidence. We're gonna do this. Like, he has us speak it out loud.
that's I'm glad you said that because that's actually a really big one that like, when you're except for basketball when you're getting shots up like I'll say like auditory signals to myself. It's like follow through, like set base, like or it's things like little things like to remind myself to like hold the follow through. Yeah, just talking out loud. It helps. It actually helps a lot.
Yeah.
So I'm glad you said that. So what how did you end up choosing Westmont? Like was that kind of like destined to be? What was the road to Westmont College?
So it's kind of funny. I was playing soccer and golf my senior year. In my mind, I wanted to play soccer, but golf had also just been such a big part of me all my
Mhm.
life. I was like, this is something I want to pursue too. So it was kind of a battle, and I kind of got a little overwhelmed, and I kind of just threw up the hands, and I was like, you know what, I'll just pursue my academics, and I'll just go to college,
Mhm.
and maybe not do the athlete route. And then I had actually gotten an email from the Westmont golf coach, and I opened it and I was like, you know what? Maybe maybe I do want to golf. After the constant no's from all the schools I was reaching out from, it was nice like to see that,
Absolutely.
somebody wanted me. So I was like, you know what? I'll take a visit. This sounds really nice. And I came to the campus and I absolutely loved it.
It's a really nice campus.
It
Yeah.
is amazing. The team I met, the Westmont golf team, when I came and visited, they were absolutely amazing, welcoming, and I was like, I see myself becoming really good friends with these people, and I want them to be in my life, which is ultimately why I decided on coming to Westmont. Just the people, the location, and playing golf isn't that bad either.
So one thing you mentioned I think is very, very important for the student athletes, listening out there or just people in general. It's a very valuable lesson of like go where you're wanted. Oftentimes if you if you force yourself upon a situation, it's not really going to work out. You want to go where people want you. And I'll speak honestly, like I kind of forced my way onto like I was at Holy Names first, which is a small school in Oakland, and then I reached out to Dominican and I kind of made that happen. And one of my points of reflection was there wasn't a lot of schools that were reaching out to come and grab me, Nanik, and like bring me onto their team. Like was very, proactive in that. And I think it's very important to go where you're wanted. And not to say that my coaches don't want me now that I'm there and a part of it. Like they love me and I love that I'm part of the program, but it's very important to go where people have interest in you. And yeah, of course, like that feels really good. It's like you put in so much time to something, so it's nice to see that all come around. I do have a question for you. If you had interest in soccer, would you have played soccer instead if you had like college interest from
um
coaches?
I don't know. I loved soccer, and I still love it, but it is definitely a little bit more demanding on the body than golf
No doubt.
is. And I mean, I've struggled with injury and everything, and I think, you know, golf was a smart choice. And it's what brought me to Westmont. So
Definitely
very
lower
happy with it.
impact. Definitely
Yeah,
lower
a little
impact.
bit.
All right. So transitioning over to like your current like work and mission, like outside of the athlete side. So you're involved with leadership at PSAAC, and I also want to talk about what major are you in? Like, what are you studying at Westmont?
So I'm a liberal studies major, so I'm focused on elementary education.
Hmm.
So hopefully going into teaching.
Yeah.
Um, sorry, what was the next?
No, I
So,
think that we'll
um,
stop there. We'll start there first. What exactly was it an influence? Did you always know that you wanted to be a teacher?
No, no.
Okay, so talk about that.
Growing up, I did not think I wanted to be a teacher at
Hmm.
all. I didn't know what, but even through high school, I was like, I don't know. I work with kids a lot, but I could never see myself as a teacher. So I started at Westmont as a communications major,
Hmm.
and then I took some business classes. And I was sitting in my accounting class, and I was like, wow, this is definitely not for me. And I I was like, I'm called to do something else. In that moment, I was like, I am being called to do something else. I'm not sure what it is, but this is definitely not accounting. And then later that day, I got a text message from one of our program donors, and they reached out about wanting me to help with their Storytellers Foundation, which is just like helping kids after school program for lower income families. And I was like, I do love working with kids. Maybe, maybe I, maybe teaching is what I want to do, even though I'd never thought of it before. And so I started taking some of the education classes and started working with kids a lot more. And it's just something I love so much. Just giving back to them and being around kids is brings me so much life. Um, so
I love that. I
long
love that.
journey, but
No, I mean, I think that that speaks to something bigger, but you don't have to have it all figured out. And I think oftentimes two things people will say is like, oh, you'll figure it all out when you go to college. Like, you'll figure it out. And in this case, you did actually
you
figure it
really
out.
do.
So that's awesome. But it's also okay on the other side of the coin that you don't need to have all the answers like going in to like, the next step of your life. It's like things have a tendency of working out, and fingers crossed, hopefully they do. But it's okay. It's like the right path will unfold. And in this case, it did, which is awesome.
I know. I run into so many freshmen. They're like, I don't know what I want to major in. Like,
It's
I'm
daunting.
doing this. I'm this major. I'm like, you're only a freshman. It's your first or second semester. I switched so many times before that. I
Hmm.
took so many classes. Luckily, with the liberal arts school, like we have to take classes in every subject, every group. So you kind of are able to feel out what you want to do
Yeah.
before you pick a focus.
I think that's good. You get to, yeah, like you said, feel them out. I mean, that way you knew that you didn't want to do accounting, for
Yeah,
example. You could just cross
true.
that right off the list.
Yeah.
So your involvement with student leadership at school, was that your coach assigning that to? Oh, Liz is really great at this. Let's just put her in here. Or is that did you want to get involved with SAC? Just I'm very
Um,
curious.
I actually had reached out to participate in SAC. I
Mm,
had gone to the captain's meeting at the beginning of the year and they kept talking about SAC, SAC. I'm like, what is that? So then I went up to our athletic director after the meeting. I was like, you kept talking about, SAC. What is that? And does our team have a representative? And they were like, no. They put me on as the golf SAC representative. I didn't really completely know what it was. It doesn't have a huge presence at Westmont yet,
yeah,
but it definitely is something that I love to participate in. I think the more, the older we get as a team and group, we can actually make some great things happen at Westmont.
absolutely.
So it's definitely something I wanted to be a part of. I was an ASB kid in high school,
Hmm.
so it's kind of right up my alley.
The organization, planning events, like
Yeah,
making it all happen. My
making
my
things
younger
happen.
brother, he was president of ASB. So whenever I'm like planning events, I'll even ask him like for advice on it because like it's not necessarily my area of expertise is like planning events necessarily, and it's actually a lot of work. Like we're working on doing this piece dodgeball tournament right now, and also like this yoga workshop, and I'm kind of at my wits end right now trying to organize and book the event, make graphics and just bring everyone together for something. But it's
It's
been a fun
honestly
challenge.
bringing people together. It has been the hardest part,
Oh
just
yeah.
because we're all athletes, we're all on insane schedules,
Hmm.
very different schedules. We're actually planning our first ever award ceremony for
Oh
athletes this year.
yeah.
We've never done it before, but the only day that works out is like the Sunday before finals because everybody's competing up until that
Hmm.
point. So but we're gonna make it work, and everybody's gonna be there.
So that's where you have to sometimes make trade-offs. It's I think it's more important to have that banquet and that, coming together of all the student athletes and have them just figure out the finals after. When the time comes, they'll figure it out. We'll
No,
make it happen.
everybody's worked so hard all year, academics and athletics. Finals are important, but it would be nice to be recognized a little bit.
Of course. I think it's really important to have those like those end of the year, just like coming together. It's really good for, building engagement like on campus. I think it's really
Hmm.
important. In your eyes, working with SAC, what do you think is the biggest issues that are facing college student athletes right now? And how do you approach that?
Um, well, especially with our group, I think we definitely struggle a lot with, time management and
Hmm.
just finding time to balance our social life, our academics, our athletics, and just having, personal time.
Hmm.
Um, we're in a place where we're constantly surrounded by people. We have practice, and then we have to figure out our academics. And just that balance is so challenging. And nobody really gets it perfect, but we can do our best.
Hmm.
Um, and just we don't sleep, we're exhausted, and it just affects our mental health as well. So we're walking around like zombies sometimes. It's kind of just the way it feels. I haven't really totally figured out how to
Yeah.
balance all of it, and I will say it's one of my biggest challenges.
I think time management for student athletes, especially, like you come back from a long road trip and then you're expected to go to class in the morning. Like, come on, like we don't have this next day off. Like, I think that was a big wake up call for me. I think we got in at like 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock maybe, and we still had class the next day. And our coach is like, "Yeah, you guys got to go to class. We're class checking tomorrow." So I
Yeah,
mean, I'm not going to speak on how many of my teammates probably went to class or not, but yeah, it's like you're still respected to be a student and show up to all those other
yeah, and then
responsibilities.
missing class is just so hard. I mean,
Hmm.
I have professors that you know don't love the fact that I miss class a lot,
Mm.
and it's not easy to make up that work while traveling, try to figure things out. Um, but we make it work. We
Right,
we
you
handle
have
it.
to. There's
Yeah,
no other
we
option.
really have no other choice.
um so I wanted to see what are your routines and like techniques that you have to get yourself ready for. So what in golf? What is it called? Is it like because there's matches, there's games, there like what is it? What is the correct
We play
terminology?
in tournaments.
Tournament. Okay,
It'd
good.
be
So when you're getting
tournaments.
ready for a tournament, what is your routine and like how do you get your mind right and ready to go?
So like practice wise, the days leading up to a tournament, I definitely like to play like games or matches with my teammates, get into that competitive mindset, see how I perform if I put a little pressure on.
Hmm.
Um, Coming to tournaments though has honestly been a really stressful thing for me lately. I did not perform very well my sophomore year, so I kind of have those like lingering, thoughts that, things aren't going to go well. So I've really had to like focus my thoughts on like good thoughts and,
Hmm.
you know, just I talk to my parents before every tournament and they really help me like believe in myself before I get out there. And it's not necessarily anything I do physically to prepare for tournaments. It's kind of all mental. Just, getting sleep, making sure I'm well rested, building my self confidence in myself,
Hmm.
knowing that I can do it. That's kind of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't say there's like a specific, like I hit like 100 range balls the day before, or I hit,
It's
it's,
mental, like we talked
yeah,
about earlier. Mm. Something that's so and the mental confidence, it's one of the easiest things to have broken because it's like you can the second that you let like one thought in there, it's like it could open up Pandora's box in your head. So it's like you have to
yeah,
be really, really strong mentally, and it's like our mind is like it's receptive to every thought or every all the energy that's coming in and out. Um, yeah, I think that's like the hardest thing. Arguably we talked about it earlier too. Is like that's the hardest part about golf. I think is that it's just every single shot you have. It's like okay.
Yeah,
You gotta be.
I've been playing so long that my techniques really haven't
Mhm.
changed. My swing hasn't really changed that much. So when I'm having a bad day, it's not my swing that's failing me, it's my mind.
Mm. I think talking to your parents, like grounding yourself is like really important too. Um, yeah, just to have like a level head, and especially in high school, like I'm guessing your parents like went with you to a lot of your tournaments, so it probably
Yeah.
provides like a level of like comfort too, and like reminding you, all right, they've been with me along this whole road, like just to hear their voice, like get yourself back into the zone. Um, yeah, I mean, as a college athlete, you gotta have things in your back pocket to, lock in.
Yeah, they believe in me more than I believe in myself.
Mhm.
So talking to them really, really does help.
Absolutely, get some of that positive reinforcement.
Mhm.
So looking into like the lessons that you've taken, from golf, do you feel like there's been something that you've taken away from golf that you've helped to apply to your life outside? Did anything come to mind?
Um, I would say golf requires a lot of patience, and it's never perfect ever. There's definitely a lot of ups and downs, and that's like life. Like nothing is ever perfect, and you kind of gotta like go play it where it lies. My dad uses that
Mhm.
analogy a lot, but yeah, I've kind of just learned that like not not everything is going to go the way you want it to go,
Yeah.
and it's kind of just how you react to those situations and how you take that next step. um, for example, like in golf, you could have a bad shot, it could put you in a really bad spot, but it's how you react and how you move on from that is how what's going to affect the rest of your round. If
Absolutely.
you go into the next shot with a bad attitude, with a bad thought process, then that next shot's probably not going to be good
Yeah.
either. But it's definitely taught me how to handle difficult situations and move on from them,
Hmm.
um, which is definitely not easy. But having that patience and calmness
Yeah.
is definitely something I've taken.
I feel like with something so mental, it's like your thoughts can either be like an avalanche downwards of just all this negativity, or it can be reminding yourself how positive and how the great things you've done. It can go in a positive trend too. And I feel like people listening out there, it can go both ways. And you could yeah, decide it's tough obviously, but to be aware of it, but it can go down, yes, but it can also be something to use for your, strengthening and getting better if you want, if you, try to channel that
Yeah,
positive energy.
it's not easy walking away from like a bad shot or a bad
Hmm.
round or something bad that happens and then go out of that with positivity. Um, I mean,
It's tough.
it's
It can be
it's
tough.
very easy to go into a negative
Yeah.
headspace, but walking away from something difficult with a positive mindset, that sets you up for a positive outcome.
Mm, no doubt.
So
If you were,
oh, sorry, I was
oh, no
just
worries.
going to add one more thing. It's
Yeah.
easy to like dwell on the negative things, but that's not going to get you anywhere.
What's easy is to dwell, no doubt. Like it's a lot easier to sit in like negativity. I think that's also one thing that we struggled with at our team this year. It's like we didn't have a great year. That's no secret. You can look at the standings. And I think a lot in large part it was because we did what you just mentioned is like we allowed ourselves to dwell on a loss and to sit in the loss instead of ever like turning it around and flipping it. Because yeah, we did what was easy, which is to like sit in that negativity, which is not it's not the recipe for success.
What positivity can come out of negativity?
Oh, two negatives is a positive. Like one could hope. If you were to go back and give your younger self a piece of advice about either golf or life, what would it be?
Um, Probably just don't give up.
Mm,
I know when things got hard, I kind of just took a step back from golf and academics and life. Um, but everything can happen and will happen. Just have to keep working. Like it does get hard, but you're doing it for a reason. Um, and find the love in things, find the happiness and the joy. that's kind of it, remember what to be thankful for. There's so much to be thankful for.
Mm, Preach it. Okay. I know we are gonna wrap. We're gonna start wrapping up here. We have our quick fire round. So first thing that comes to
Okay.
mind to close out today's episode. What is the favorite golf course you've played on?
Oh, my favorite course is probably our home course, Montecito,
Mm,
the Montecito Club.
where's that?
It's right by our campus.
Oh,
It's just one of our courses we have access to.
yeah.
Our home courses, actually, the Valley Club and Montecito are probably my favorite courses I've ever played.
Well, isn't that convenient?
Yeah,
What is do you have a dream course that you want to play on?
probably Augusta. It's just so unattainable that, I would love to, but
And where
I
is
don't
that?
think it will ever happen. It's over on the East Coast.
Mm, yeah. Whenever I drive by golf courses, I'm just amazed at how well kept they are. Like, oh, these are gorgeous. Like, I just want to walk around, drive around in the
Yeah,
caddy.
they
What?
are amazing.
Yeah, no, it's gorgeous. It's a spectacle. What is your best pre-round snack or meal?
Pre-round, I usually always just have potatoes
Mm.
and some type of protein and tea.
Ooh, what type of tea?
I usually go Earl Grey.
Earl Grey. That's a little bit of caffeine in there. Get you
Just a
some.
little bit. I'm
Yeah,
not a big caffeine drinker, so I just need a little bit in the mornings, and that is good enough.
jumpstart you a little bit. Um, Wait, what about post round? I feel like there might be a different answer here.
Post round, I kind of snack throughout my whole round.
Hmm.
So after a round, I'm not super hungry.
Yeah,
So like during a round, I love those like chomps, the beef
those
sticks.
are good. I just got picked those up at Trader
Those
Joe's
are
recently. Yeah,
amazing, and I kind of always have a Diet Coke.
that's like the guilty pleasure on
That's,
the
yeah, on the course after my round, that's kind of always what I want.
perfect.
A
It's okay.
nice
I mean,
cold Diet Coke sounds amazing.
yeah. Who is your favorite golfer that you look up to?
My favorite golfer is Lizette Solis. She's actually one of my coaches from my childhood. I'd met her when I was 6 and she was playing in college and she went pro, and I just got to watch her trajectory as an athlete and becoming professional, and it's been so inspiring, and I
Oh, I
just
bet
love
that's
the person
amazing.
she is. So
Yeah, that's
she's
amazing.
definitely my favorite.
Yeah, no, it's awesome. And what would be one word that you would describe your golf game?
Mm, wow, that's a hard one.
Hmm.
Gosh, I don't know. Um,
Maybe
unpredictable.
I think that's a good one because you never know what you're gonna. Yeah, it's
You're never gonna know what you're gonna get, but you're gonna make it work, hopefully.
my last one for people that may not know because I've learned a lot in this conversation. What's one thing people might not know about outside golf? Like that. What's one thing people wouldn't know about golf?
I think a lot of things that even students at Westmont or professors have been really confused about is how long golf tournaments are.
Mm,
So, like we are out there for 3 days, about 7, 8 hours a day,
mm,
and it's exhausting because for those 5, 6 hours of the round, you're fully mentally zoned in. And it's just really mentally exhausting. And I don't think people really get that. I think people are quick to assume that, like, golf isn't that tough
mm.
because we only have to walk and swing a few times. But I think the mental exhaustion and just that aspect kind of makes up for the physical. I will say golf is a lot harder than people think it is.
100%. We one yeah, 100%. I couldn't agree more. Any closing thoughts to people listening out there? Anyone that has ever that like me listening, you have any closing thoughts? Or shout outs to
Just
family and friends?
well, shout out to my team. They're the best. And my coach. I love Westmont Golf and Westmont College in general. It's amazing. And obviously my family for pushing me to get to this point. But just a closing thought. um, playing sports and being an athlete in college is not easy, and getting there is not easy. It's a grind, and it can be really tough mentally, even just to get here. Coaches will say no, and schools will say no. But just if it's something you want, keep working for it. You will find your place, and you will find the place you're supposed to be. And even if that doesn't happen right in your freshman year, you don't find the place that you want to be right away. Um, don't be afraid to take a chance somewhere else. Always keep trying to find your place in the world.
I love it. We'll leave it there. Liz, thank you so much for the time
Well,
this morning. I know you've got a little trip ahead of you, and we're going on to spring break. I don't know if you guys are too.
yeah, we're just starting our spring break too.
Yeah, great. So have a great break. This episode's going to be available later today. So, yeah, thank you so much for taking the time and joining. I very much appreciate you fitting it in very last minute.
Thank you so much for having me. It was nice talking to you today.
Of course. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe to the show. This is episode 50, and we hope that you could take something away from this episode. Thank you so much, and we'll be back here next time.
Bye.